Go to the Los Angeles Clippers, 51.5, 52.5. The range is much tighter on this one than it is on some of the other teams. You got pretty consistent numbers across the board here. This is going to be a stay away for me. Love this team. We'll talk about why, but it's going to be a stay away on the number. Brandon, what's your projection for the Los Angeles Clippers?
So this is the team I'm in on, and I did not expect it. I have the Clippers second offensively. I have them 10th on defense. I project them anywhere from 50 to 60 wins as their outcome for a range. I am taking the over. I did not expect to be on the over. I expected at the very least to stay away and just be like, whatever. The Clippers, we'll see in the playoffs. Kawhi will not play back-to-backs and PG will rest and whatever. I don't care about this team now. Wake me up for the Clippers in April. They were a above 500 team last year that added to what they had last year. Whatever Kawhi Leonard's going to give them, I gave them about 60 games of Kawhi, which I think is very fair. They're going to get more Paul George, half a season more of Paul George, and he stunk because he was not healthy when he did play last year. So they're going to get more and better PG and whatever John Wall has to give. And more Norm Powell. He played like 4 games last year. And Robert Covington. And they were already this incredible deep team. And they have a great coach. The floor has been established. Last year was the floor. And they still won 42 games and would have made the playoffs if PG didn't get hurt at the end. And that's the floor. And we added ceiling outcomes that involve Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and 4 other really good players that they've added. I have to like the over here because my process says the floor has already been proven. It's already pretty good. And they added a whole lot of ceiling X factors here. I didn't expect this, but I think they could be really, really good, even in the regular season, even without trying that hard to be that good.
Yeah, I'm going to bet it too. You got me. So to me, it basically comes down to this. Their formula is so reliable on all the things that I think matter in the regular season. They're going to switch a ton. That boosts your ability to win games because you just mess with opponents that can't deal with it. They shoot a ton of threes. Their 3-point volume is outrageous. That makes up for a huge gap on nights where if you're not shooting efficiently, you still win because you made more threes. It creates a gap between teams that are as good as you.
And not just volume, by the way. They are the best 3-point percentage team on top of it. That was the thing that stood out. I was like, oh, shoot, this is a potential number 1 offense from the threes alone.
Yeah. This is the deepest team in the league to me. Yep. If we go down this lineup, it's not just depth in terms of the injuries and the rest that's going to be required. That matters. But I am talking at night to night in not only being able to find the answers to what you're facing, but having a team who is not politically, in terms of their own individual agendas, willing to sacrifice and not play. This is the best roster for that as well. John Wall is just happy to have another shot at being competitive. Nick Batum feels rescued in Los Angeles. Norm Powell and Robert Covington are just glad to be in positive, good situations where they're valued. Terrence Mann is just happy to have an opportunity to get minutes and prove that he is an NBA player. Amir Coffey, same kind of deal. They have Luke Kennard, same kind of they have so many guys that are fine if it's like, hey, you're not playing tonight. You're not going to play in the second half.
Well, and by the way, of those guys you just said, almost all of them are coming off the bench. They have to. They won't play some nights because they have to. That's how deep they are. That all the guys you just said, who will be starters on 20 teams in the NBA, most of them have to come off the bench or not play.
But if you're facing a team that you need to play a certain way against, if you're like, hey, we're going to match up with John. We're going to play, instead of Reggie Jackson, we're going to play Wall, Batum, PG, Kawhi, and Zubac. Great. Hey, this team, we've got to value shooting. So Wall, you're not going to play. It's going to be, we're going to play Reggie and Kennard, Kawhi, PG, and Zubac. You can match up whatever you want. The one thing I'm a little concerned about is losing Hartenstein.
Yeah, me too.
Their small ball option is back to Marcus Morris. And as I've mentioned before, anytime the Morris twin is involved, I am automatically downgrade you. Yeah. You need to be able to play small. And I don't know what that now. Batum played a little bit of small ball center, which is insane that this is where we're at in the NBA. But he legitimately did play, like he was matched up against Gobert sometimes. It's crazy.
And it was pretty good.
It works. The real question here, I think you have to ask is, what is Ty Lue worth to this total? How many wins do you legitimately think? If you look at the talent and let's say you look at the talent and you look at this and say, all right, their floor. Kawhi misses a decent chunk of time for rest and everything else. PG misses a chunk of time, but their floor is still 50 wins. How many wins is Ty Lue worth? You can't say like 10. That's ridiculous. It's more than 1.5. It's less than 6. And the range of all those numbers still gets us to the over. So I'm with you. I'm going to make this a best bet. I will not play it heavy because of the Kawhi stuff. I still get worried about it.
Yeah.
I just think we saw last year, you need those two to be a great team. And a 53-win team is a great team.
Yeah. Well, and Kawhi, like, look, we know this, but we forget because we haven't seen him play that much. Kawhi is awesome. Kawhi is not just like, well, let's distinguish between them. Getting Paul George back for a whole healthy season would be really good. It'd be really nice, and it would really help this team. Getting Kawhi back for even close to a healthy season is a game changer and changes everything about the team and the ceiling and what they can be. They're not the same. And there are still, is from what we last saw Kawhi doing, dunking on dudes and dominating playoff games, no more than 5 dudes in the league that, like, if we were doing the Warriors preview a little bit ago and we said, well, I don't know, Steph might be back this year. Steph could be pretty good. What would he be worth? A couple wins of the team? No, like you'd be like up 10, 15, 20, like everything changes. We saw the non-Steph team with the Warriors. That team got the number 1 pick or up near the top of it. The team without Kawhi was already above 500 and adds a player almost as valuable if he can be that healthy. I like the Clippers in the division too. So here's my division numbers. I have the Clippers at 37% to win the division. That's my favorite here. That would put them at plus 160. The Warriors at 26%, Suns at 21%. So you gotta, if you want to play a division bet here, because you're deciding on these 3 teams, you have to shop around because it is wildly different from book to book here. Like they literally have different favorites. At Bet Rivers, the Clippers are plus 230. If you don't have Rivers, at BetMGM, plus 225. The Clippers are 3rd favorite at both of those to win the division. When I started researching for this, at first, so I have the Clippers at what they should be as plus 160. I forget where I looked. The first book, they were like plus 180. And I was like, all right, I probably don't need to bet it. That's not enough of a margin to really invest too much in it. The next book was 195. And I was like, all right, I probably have to bet it. There's some margin there. And then I found the 225 and the 230, and now I have to bet those. So I think if you're looking at the 3, and where I ended up on is I don't really know what the Warriors, but I'm out, and I'm way out on the Suns, and the Clippers I liked more than I thought. So I'm gonna play the division and the over.
I like the division play there. I may also just make that the best bet. I just looked this up, and so I need to mention it. I know that these trends, in general, trends for you tend to have a skeptical eye on. I think you're coming around where some of them matter in these betting circles in relation to, like, for me, the trends matter very much in relation to specific numbers in the market. It's not, I hate trends that are like the Bucks have beaten the Wolves.
Yeah.
12 of their last.
My skepticism is sample size from a math standpoint. When we get like a 13 and 9, I'm like, all right, well, over like 2 decades, twice a year, it's not enough for me. But there are certainly trends that are very meaningful. So what trend do you have on this one?
Well, this is a 15 one, so you're not going to think it's meaningful, and that's okay. But it's so weighted, I think it's terrifying.
Okay.
Teams that won fewer than 50 games in the season that have a win total the next season of 50 or more, 12, 2, and 1 to the under. 12 out of 15 to the under. Essentially, if you don't hit the 50 win mark and you're expected to win 50 games, you don't get there. Again, this 50 win mark winds up being a super tough bar for teams to hit as an expectation. It's not enough to get me off of it, just because at some point the basketball is going to matter. And so,
yeah, I mean, I think what I would interpret that trend to mean that should scare us a little bit is I think that that's saying, if we looked at who those 15 teams were, and we're not going to right now, but I'm going to guess a bunch of those teams are teams that were supposed to be good and then had superstars get injured. And then the next year, everyone was like, all right, so they should be healthy again. So they're going to be great now. And I think what that's telling us is, yeah, sorry, it doesn't work that way always. Sometimes guys that have that big career injury don't come back the same way. And I think that's the easy case for the under here is like, I don't really want to bet on Kawhi. I don't want to bet on Kawhi and PG's health. That's fine. We're going to talk about another team, and we get to it here where you have to choose, do I want to bet on this guy? And I don't want to bet on him anymore. I'm fine betting on Kawhi. Kawhi, you can have my money. Here it is. See you in 8 months. I feel fine with you protecting it.